billion to the Taliban last week. Yes, that Taliban received $45 billion from the Trump administration, and nobody quite seems to know why. But here's what happened. $45 billion was sent by the U.S. State Department to the Central Bank of Afghanistan, which, of course, as we know because Republicans have screamed about it for years, is controlled by the Taliban. So any money, any foreign aid going into that Afghanistan central bank is immediately in the hands of the Taliban. They're the ones that get to make the decisions on what to do with it. We have spent the last 4 years hearing Republicans tell us that President Biden was such a screw up with his withdrawal from Afghanistan that he allowed the terrorists of the Taliban to take over the country. So, why in God's name is Donald Trump sending them $45 billion? Well, we don't exactly have an answer to that, but we do have a hell of a lot of outrage, which is natural. You should be outraged by that. And I'll get more to that in just a moment, but first, a word from today's video sponsor. By now, you know Trump's big, beautiful bill has passed, but almost no one's reporting how ICE will get nearly $40 billion of our tax money each year, making it the most heavily funded law enforcement agency in U.S. history. That's more money than most nations spend on their entire military. So much of our media is either missing the worst of this bill or twisting the language so you think it's all in your best interest. But we've seen the ICE raids ramping up. Now Trump's openly threatening to deport U.S. citizens. This should be the biggest story in America, yet it's buried. Making ground news essential right now is what all of this is doing. They're the only tool I've found exposing these blind spots in the media. By gathering the world's news in one place, organizing it by story, then analyzing just how far right and radical each unbiased source actually is, you get way more context than you ever would anywhere else. If we're being honest, we've seen Trump's power grabs throughout history. They said never again, and that means never again everywhere. And right now, it's happening here. So if you want to stay ahead on immigration, the economy, or simply finding the stories missing from your news feeds, Ground News has you covered. Their app and website is a smarter, more reliable way to stay informed at a time when MAGA is banking on us to stay distracted. So I've partnered with them to get you 40% off the same Vantage plan that I have been using. That comes out to $5 a month for unlimited access to everything I've mentioned and so much more. Just go to ground.news/Farron or scan the QR code to subscribe. With at least another 4 years of this, we can't afford to miss these details. So like I said, you've got a lot of Republicans not happy that they've had to spend 4 years trying to demonize the Biden administration for letting the Taliban take over, and then Trump turns around and gives the Taliban $45 billion. So they're being a little outspoken right now. Republican Representative Tim Burkett was especially outspoken because he's actually been trying to pass legislation for a couple years, I guess, to stop any U.S. money from going into Afghanistan because, according to a 2023 testimony in front of a House committee, top commander in the U.S. admitted that, yeah, the money we're sending there is pretty much ending up in the hands of the Taliban. So, people aren't happy. I mean, hell, if you're a farmer in the United States, you got to be pretty pissed off about that too, right? Trump's only going to give you guys $12 billion, but he's forking over $45 billion for the Taliban. Now, the White House denies that any of this happened. The White House released a statement saying, quote, "The Biden administration," because that's the best way to start every argument if you're a Trump administration, right? You can't just answer a question, God, no. You've got to start with, but Biden did. That's what they are. That's what they do. Anything you ask, doesn't matter the topic, doesn't matter what it is. But if you ask anyone in this administration a single question, they're going to throw the word Biden in there somewhere. Every now and then they'll throw in an Obama, just, for good measure. But here's what they said. The Biden administration sent billions of dollars to places where aid diversion to terrorist groups like the Taliban has been well documented. By contrast, President Trump directed the department to suspend all direct assistance that could reach the hands of the Taliban. The Trump administration will not allow U.S. taxpayer dollars to be used to enable the Taliban's heinous behavior. We condemn the United Nations for failing to implement adequate safeguards and for allowing international aid flows that risk falling into the hands of terrorists. So you're blaming everybody else, which is typically what you do when you're the ones who screwed up. Because it was actually confirmed by media and groups in Afghanistan that the money not only arrived, but they were able to describe the condition of the bills that showed up to the country. They said they looked like they had been freshly printed. And it was delivered on a private chartered plane from the United States State Department, run, of course, by the idiot man-child Marco Rubio. So deny it all you want, they're able to describe every single aspect of how the money made it to Afghanistan to go to the central bank to end up in the hands of the Taliban. But this administration is not going to take the blame for that. Oh, God, no. They're going to sit there and once again, just like they do on every other issue, deny the reality that everybody else was able to see as clear as day. Thanks for watching, and if